Hey, what's up, guys? Hey, good to be back with you again. And it's kind of a strange way to put this, but this is kind of opening day here for us as we are playing against Oregon State on the road. This is our first in-conference game, if you can believe that. We're going to go over here to team selection. You're going to notice something interesting, which is that the stars are now gone. Yes, that's right. The stars are now completely gone, which is an interesting thing to report on. And the reason for this is quite simply because hardcore mode has returned. I want to thank the guy who's in charge of the Mustermann, what's it called, skin, who was talking, who I talked with over Twitter, and who gave me this little very short and very quick modification to allow the star ratings to go away. And here we are now. We do have some player attributes. I'll show you this a little bit more as our probably in our second video here, but we now don't have to worry about those pesky stars getting in the way, and we can now focus on the things that are actually important, which are just playing random players and hoping that things go well. And if you're an American college football fan, you'll notice that there's not a whole lot of name teams here in this Mountain West Conference. It's really just us and Boise State. Oregon State is kind of the team that was forgotten. With all the talk about UCLA and USC going up to the Big Ten, Oregon State and Washington State are the two teams from the former Pac-12, now really should be called the Pac-10, that are kind of left behind, and nobody really wants them. They're not seen of as big television markets or anything like that. And it's kind of a shame because, Oregon State's not really that bad. May not be that good at football, but it's not an awful school. And they are certainly playing okay here. The Silvas has the ball now over to Amutenya. Amutenya takes it up laterally, then passes back to Doe. Doe walks it forward, then passes over to Williams. Williams now over to Son Hyun Tech, who's also back into the lineup. It's been a little while, I think, for him. Williams over to Chris Gallagher now. And Chris Gallagher moves us over to the side and then knocks us up forward, looking for Bowden, and finds him. And that goes up to Aldana, who passes immediately back to Silvas. Silvas over to Aldana again, and that's not really a good place for a shot. That's in front of what I suppose are the BYU supporters there behind that goal. And they probably won't be very happy with that or with our performance so far. But Son Hyun Tech is able to get this one off the Oregon State player. And Garcia is able to win another interception. And then Aldana tries another one of these kind of silly shots from the middle of nowhere, and it goes nowhere, as you would imagine. And it's out for another goal kick. And there's no highlight here for a couple more minutes. Bowden now with a free kick from far out, but it doesn't really go anywhere. Chris Gallagher ends up getting onto the end of it. Over to Alpha Doe. Alpha Doe passes this one back to Silvas. Silvas over to Matt Williams. Then he looks up forward and finds Bowden. Bowden over to Garcia. Garcia with a pass into Aldana, who moves away from the goal. It's a little bit bizarre what he's doing, and Garcia ends up with a header, and Oregon State's goalie is able to grab it. They say that was brilliance, but that didn't look very brilliant to me. That looked like a lot of us not knowing what we're doing. And that was not exactly the best attack I think I've ever seen from us. Bowden here with the corner, and he knocks this one forward, looking for Alpha Doe. Can't find him. Elescas over to Hassani, and then it ends up back with Silvas, back to Doe over to Williams, to Son Hyun Tech. Son Hyun Tech back to Silvas. Silvas now into Bowden, back to Son Hyun Tech, and it's intercepted right away. And Son Hyun Tech really fouled his man and just sort of grabs the ball off of him, and there's no call. Findley, the goaltender there for Oregon State, is able in the end to grab it, and Alpha Doe winning it in midfield, but it doesn't really matter. Guerra now passes it over to Barlow, to Sherman for Oregon State, and then he takes one of these shots from range, and that is blocked. I guess we're fortunate that one was blocked, but that was the sort of shot that I wouldn't mind sort of letting that go through because I don't think it's going anywhere. Barlow with the corner, and it ends up back with Elescas over to Pellegrino, who heads it forward, and Korn is able to fall onto it. And so we at least survived that little onslaught, but not looking so good here. Guerra now with it. Passes it forward, and Alpha Doe with the interception, passes this onward, and Aldana is able to go over and get it. And he passes back here to Bowden, and Bowden will slow it up a little bit over to Son Hyun Tech, who lobs it forward, but it ends up with Oregon State. Guerra now has it over to Quintero, and Quintero was probably fouled there in the box by Matt Williams. There's no call on that. Good thing for us, I suppose, but I really have to question the lack of a call there. Mutenya now knocks it forward, but it is intercepted again by Oregon State. It's Sherman now who has the ball, and he moves this up forward a little bit more. Sherman now up forward, and over to Barlow, and that is knocked out barely by Korn, and that was going in far corner, and we are in trouble. First conference match of the season, and we're not looking so hot, and Korn is able to jump up and grab this one. We're missing, I think, some of that firepower there among the attacking midfielders. We just don't have much going on. Everybody's playing poorly, and they knock this one all over the pitch on the other side here to Sherman. Sherman moves forward. Son Hyun-taek with the tackle is not good enough, and Guerrero has it in position. Unfortunately for us, he's not able to get his foot onto it. And we have a break now. Bowden with it, and he is tackled by Pellegrino, and that ends that one. Sherman here had this in excellent position to cross. Son Hyun-taek with the attempted tackle prevents the cross, which was a good thing. He does get a backwards-looking cross in there, and Guerrero was trying to get a foot onto that, and Alpha Do intimidated him enough to prevent that. Our defenders are playing well. The goalie, David Korn, is playing okay, but we're not looking so hot here in this match, and I'm a little bit concerned. And as I've been saying the whole time, I don't think that it's this tactic, guys. I don't. Martin with the shot on goal, and that's over everyone's head. And, I mean, what can we say about that? And that will bring things to a conclusion here in the first half with no score. And, yeah, I guess we've been the better team here. I don't know. That's what my assistant manager says. I'm too lazy to look it up. We're having some pretty poor matches by a number of guys. Not bad enough by Aldana yet for me to take him out, but I'm going to keep an eye on him. And he's been doing a lot of this lately where he just doesn't do anything for the first half plus of the game. And we need to see him scoring goals. And he's been scoring goals against teams that at least in theory are better than this. There's a corner by us, and that one ends up being knocked out to just about nothing. And Gallagher for Oregon State's able to get a foot onto that. Amatenya rather wins the foot race. And that's where we're most vulnerable on those wings because we have no defenders that are playing on the wings. And this is one of the reasons why I kind of love this tactic because it's so ridiculous. Matt Williams now with the ball again, and he will move this up, pass it over to Doe across the midfield line, looks forward for Garcia and finds him, but Sherman's there and he misses a tackle. And that's really poor for Sherman for Oregon State. Son Hyun-taek now over to Aldana, who tries to sneak a little shot in, and unfortunately for us, that is saved. That was a really, really poor play by Sherman, who should have intercepted that ball easily, and it almost led to a goal. There Gallagher was just out of position, and that was a close call for us, and we really should have scored. Bowden here now with the free kick, and let's see if we can get one across. And it's over to Martin with the header, and unfortunately for Martin, that one is off the woodwork and ends up a bunch of nothing, and we have no goal here still. Garcia passes into Son Hyun-taek, over to Garcia, back to Son Hyun-taek, and I mean, it's just can't stay on it, just can't keep control of the ball, and Doe has a shot that is Alpha Doe that is knocked out for a corner, and we have another one of these. This time it's going to be Bowden. Bowden steps back and fires, and this is knocked away, and Quintero has it, and he's fouled by Martin, and they finally make the call. That's going to probably be a yellow card, I would guess, on Martin, but we get the ball back for a free kick here again. Alpha Doe with the header, and that's just over the bar and not quite good enough. And, boy, Aldana's having a really poor game. Grant Martin's having a poor game, and we're going to have to make a couple of substitutions, and we will end up with a couple more fines. I don't know about you guys, but fining and screaming at players is one of my favorite parts of the game. Hassani is able to knock this attack out for Oregon State. It ends up with our Garcia. And Garcia back to Son Hyun-taek. Son Hyun-taek is being pressured, but passes it back to Chris Gallagher. And then Tanka is able to knock this one back, but only as far as Matt Williams, then over to Alpha Doe. So we have been able to maintain possession. We just haven't done anything with it. Gallagher then is able to knock it backwards, but it ends up with us again with Bowden. And then there's a poor shot from range. And I don't like what I'm seeing so far. Let's see what we can do. All right, we're going to take out Aldana, who's not playing well at all. We'll put in Cornelson again, I suppose. And see, we don't need this rule ability here, so we'll remove this column, and we'll go here and auto-size all columns, and that'll give us a better idea of what guys are doing. Because you know how we are. We play hardcore mode. That's the way that this works. Martin is going to be replaced here by Chavez, who really can't play in that role. This is the interesting thing about this save. I mean, he barely can. I guess he's got some sort of rating up there for it, but he's really a central midfielder, and he's also inconsistent. And I think that what we're seeing here today is a lot of inconsistent performances by a lot of inconsistent players, and this is what happens when you have a team of inconsistent players, and it's Oregon State with the corner, Barlow with it, and he knocks this one forward here in a sec. There it goes. Looking for Sherman, and it's over everybody's head. Mutenya tries to get over to it, kind of fouls his man, but not really. He fell down, I think, is what happened. Passes into Barlow for Oregon State, and Guerrero with a great shot, and fortunately for his corner, is able to make the save, but that's out for another corner. And so I'm not sure what exactly is happening here on defense for us, but this is a little bit ridiculous. How is Barlow that wide open? I mean, he's not really out on the wing. Chris Gallagher kind of goes over and sort of looks at him, but he looks like he's kind of going through the motions. Gallagher, that is. Barlow here for them with the corner, and this is knocked up over to there Gallagher, and over to Ilescas, over to Pellegrino now. To Ilescas with a shot from range, and man, Korn just had to make that save. And this is a little bit scary. This is a little bit scary. This is not the sort of football manager that I was expecting to see here today. Mutenya now with it over to Bowden. Bowden knocks this one forward, finds Cornelson, and we'll see if Cornelson can do anything with it, and he can't, and that's knocked out for a corner. And they've made a couple of substitutions here, and let's see if we can do anything with this corner. Is Bowden to take it? Bowden knocks this one forward, and he's looking for Alpha Doe, and he just can't quite find Alpha Doe's head. It goes back, though, to Bowden, and he's fouled over there by Waldrop, who gets the yellow card. I suppose we'll see another replay here of that highlight, and it was Bowden looking for Cornelson and found him. The defender fell down, and then he just can't seem to get that little burst of energy that he needs to move forward, and here is the free kick now. And they are able to head that one out pretty easily, and it's Pellegrino with a chance to move on. And he's almost injured, it looks like, by Garcia. He just sort of gave up on that. That's the first time I've really seen that here in Football Manager 23. Cornelson now with a real opportunity and real chance, but their goaltender is able to save it, and it stays out for the time being, and there's going to be an offsides on Cornelson, who doesn't remember that he has to stay onside. And this was a real chance here, and this was a very good job by Cornelson, who moved back to an onside position at first, and then got the shot off. But then here at the end of the highlight, which they won't show, he sort of, you can see he sort of nestles himself back into that little back pocket and ignores what the rules are, and that's a problem. You got to play by the rules. Gallagher for Oregon State has this one, and a little bit of a break over to Waldrop over to Barlow, and they're going to slow it down a little bit and take control. Sherman now with it for Oregon State, down to Barlow, and they're holding on to this ball for a long time, and there it is over to Ilescas, and there's nobody over there, of course, because we have nobody playing any sort of wing back or fullback role, and we are able to move it up forward to Garcia over to Cornelson. Cornelson with the shot, and he hits the side netting, but that one was knocked out, they're saying, by the defender. 73 minutes into this, still no score, and here's Bowden with the free kick, or the corner rather, goes over to Alpha Doe, whose header, again, is high. And as I've been saying before, we just need to put that goal up there about 10 rows deep, and then we're going to hit everything. Korn gets this one back from Alpha Doe. I tell you, Doe has had a lot of the ball today. He's been all over both sides of the pitch. Over to Mutenya. Mutenya down to Bowden. Bowden with it. Bowden takes it up forward. Bowden stops a little bit, then takes it up forward again, loses his man, double teamed, and it goes over there to Silvis. Silvis passes backwards to Sun Hyun Tech, and that is again deflected, and that is over the goal. This is a team that we should be dominating, and we're looking like we are in need of a miracle. Bowden now with this corner, and they're going to say that Alpha Doe was fouled, and that's going to end up being a penalty for us. Now, it's always hard to see in Football Manager whether that was really a foul or not, which I think is one of the reasons why they won't show you the replay of the incident itself, but so it is. Who's this going to be to take this now? It's going to be Silvis, and Silvis steps back, and he winds up and fires, and that is a goal, and it's finally 1-0 BYU. This is not what I was expecting to have happen today. I thought that this was going to be a much more of a blowout than this. 1-0 BYU with about 15 minutes left, and the question is whether Oregon State can get a quick equalizer in or not. And we have a lot of very, very tired players. I probably should make some more substitutions, but as you'll see in a second, we don't have a lot of guys on the bench. The game is stuttering a little bit there, and is probably under the weight of all the fans or something. I don't know what's going on. Sun Hyun Tech now over to Mutenya, and this one is deflected, and it's Findlay who has it. And we need to make a couple substitutions. We need to pause this game. We need to prevent this from being completely destroyed. And let's see what we're going to do here. Probably going to put Jimenez in. Let's see. Evan Bowden will come out for Solano, and we're going to make one more change, I think. We'll take Silvis out for Cesar Meza, and we'll see how we do it from there. So Oregon State with the ball here. We've taken out a couple of our really, really good players, and we'll see if this really affects us or not. The game's still stuttering a lot here, and I'm not quite sure why. It's Oregon State with the ball now. It's Mason with it. He passes down to Ilescas. Aleskis is going to move this one forward with his wonderful-looking mohawk and all. Passes this across, and oh my gosh, Martin Cruz just barely misses getting that equalizer goal, and we are under a lot of pressure now. Barlow with this knocked forward, and Korn, fortunately, is able to make the save. I'm having a hard time seeing exactly what's happening now with all the stuttering and all the frothing about that's going on. I'm not quite sure what it is. Maybe something that's taking up a little bit of CPU process or something like that. Looks like Sung Hyun Taek was injured, and he's going to stay on because we don't have anybody to, we don't have any more substitutions to take him off with. Amutenya now with the free kick, and this is going to be knocked back at Solano with it now back to Amutenya, and Findlay, the Oregon State goalkeeper, is able to hold on to it. Just about 3 more minutes left, and then a little bit of added time, probably Mason over to Barlow. Barlow with a shot from range, and boy, that forces a really, really good save from Korn. And yeah, this isn't looking so good for us, I'll tell you that. We got about 5 more minutes left to waste. Oviedo with the shot from range from the free kick, and that one goes up and over for a goal kick. And I don't know. I mean, is Korn like the best goaltender in here or what? Waldrop with it over to Martins Cruz. And Korn is able to save it after that really, really poor pass from him to try to get this started. Sung Hyun Taek, who's probably broken a leg or something like that, is able to go flying up to get that header to prevent anything from happening. That's a horrible pass, though, by Korn. And, I mean, he hit it right to the defender, and that was just absolutely ridiculous. We only have a few more minutes, though, to hold on, and I think that we're just about going to do it. Here's Amatenya with a free kick. This one goes up and over, and it hits the crossbar, and Ogbonna is going to run after this, but he's out of time. That's the end of the match. And there is a question, as it says below, about whether Martins Cruz could have scored that equalizer or not. Really a terrible performance by us, winning only 1-0 here on the road. And I don't know what's going on with my computer, but it doesn't like whatever it is I'm doing. I'll talk with you tomorrow. We'll have a little bit more where this came from. Hardcore mode is back, everybody. Talk to you later. Bye.